Thank you. Thank you, thank you. Thank you, Elizabeth. Thank you to all my children. Thank you to my parents who are here with me. And thank all of you very much for coming. You know, we have what we saw happen in Iowa just a few days ago. We're going to see the same thing happen in New Hampshire. And that is that the status quo is yesterday, change is tomorrow, and the voters of Iowa rejected the status quo. They said they were looking for something different, and as much as the media told the Iowa caucus goers that there were only 2 people running on the Democratic side, they said no. Actually, there are 3 people running on the Democratic side. And I was the underdog there, and I am the underdog here. We ran against 2 candidates who had over $200 million between them. They had the national media saying they were the only candidates in the race. But the voters, the caucus goers said, no, we've got a candidate who may not have all that money, a candidate who's speaking the truth, a candidate who will stand up for working people and the middle class and for jobs in this country, and somebody who will fight with every fiber of their being for us, and that candidate is John Edwards, and they showed up to vote for me. And what we have to remember, all of us together, is to the extent I was an underdog there and I continue being an underdog here, the extent we're engaged in this fight, it is not for me. Because the real underdog in America is the middle class, the low-income families in America who are struggling just to survive. And there are billions and billions and billions of dollars being spent in Washington every single year against their interest. Money arrayed against their interest, and it infects everything that's happening in America. Everything. I mean, why don't we have universal health care? We don't have it because of drug companies, insurance companies, and their lobbyists. Why do we have that mess of a Medicare prescription drug law? Because the drug company lobbyists literally wrote the thing. Why do we have trade laws? I heard Elizabeth mention this, like NAFTA and CAFTA. They've cost America millions of jobs. What reason? To glorify the profits of the biggest corporations in America. That's why. Why do we have tax laws that send they give tax breaks to American companies that are sending jobs overseas? This is complete insanity. And it's not just what's happening here in America. Look at what's happening in the war in Iraq. We've got a bunch of paid mercenaries roaming around in Iraq, getting paid 10 times what our men and women in uniform are making. We've got Halliburton, right? Getting billion-dollar, no-bid contracts in Iraq. And even just in the last few days, I don't know how many of you have seen this letter agreement between President Bush and Maliki, the leader of the Iraqi government. But one of the things on the list of things agreed to is to make sure that foreign investment and foreign companies are being treated well, which an agreement is between America and the Iraqi government. So what they're really saying under the surface is make sure that American contractors are being treated well. Why are we in Iraq? I mean, really, this infects every single thing that's going on in your government. Every single thing. And it affects real people's lives. There is nothing abstract about this. We are faced with an epic fight. We are against these entrenched, moneyed interests that are stealing your democracy. And in many ways, taking away your children and your grandchildren's future. And that's what's at stake in this election. If you want to know what's at stake, that's what's at stake.